and welcome to another episode of Nerd Supernova. I am your host, Paul Michaels, and my co-host...
I'm KJ McDermott.
Yeah. So today we're going to be doing another trailer talk in anticipation for the newest big superhero stuff coming, being Batman v Superman on March 24th, or 25th, and Daredevil, which is premiering March 18th. As a lot of you probably know, they released like the newest Batman v Superman trailer a little while ago, sometime around the Super Bowl, which I've seen plenty of times, and we just got done. We wanted to wait till both parts of the new Daredevil trailer came out before we talked about it. But the what I want to refer to as the Season 2 Punisher trailer, and then the Season 2 Elektra trailer, basically. So, anyway, let's start with Batman v Superman. We just rewatched that trailer again. What are you're a Marvel fan, KJ? More? I mean, like,
yeah.
what did you take away from it?
Well, the thing I keep saying is that they keep showing more and more of the movie.
I know.
Like, a lot of those moments would have been great to have seen in the actual theater.
Yeah. Do you know what other movie would have been great to see most of in the theater? Age of Ultron.
Yeah, there wasn't much to Age of Ultron.
That's very true as well, yeah.
It's a filler movie to begin with.
At least they didn't show, like, Vision being born in, like, the Age of Ultron
Man, they didn't show Vision
trailer.
at all until
like, the actual movie, yeah. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're just really trying to hammer home... I mean, I don't think they really need to oversell Batman Superman, but I think a lot of people just... I don't know. I just got this feeling like a lot of people just don't... They don't want to take it seriously or whatever, or they don't
well,
feel...
Well, also, you know that they're not gonna kill each other and they're gonna end up just teaming up anyway.
Yeah, I know.
So
yeah, even I know that. But, like, we want to see that. So it's like, I don't know. I'll tell you what I liked about it. I like seeing... it's the first trailer to really show... like Batman fighting in hand-to-hand combat in this universe, and it looks great. It looks like a combination of like the Arkham games and like the best moments from like the older films. It was just there's just a lot of it. There's, yeah, it's like they have guys coming at him with a knife. They try to stab him in the back, like the knives like deflect off the cowl. The way it's built, I guess he is just a tank of a human being. He's just throwing these guys across the room and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, it looks really cool. The Batplane looks very different, but at the same time, it seems like an extension of like the Batmobile that we've seen in earlier stills and whatnot, and throughout like the newer trailers and whatnot. So that feels connected in its own way. I know what I can talk about. There's a small segment. It's very, very brief, very fast. You can catch it like the first time you see it, but it's interesting. It's the one very brief scene of Lois Lane in a bathtub, and Clark, you can tell, is jumping in with his full fully dressed, and I like that because I think that's what they're showing, that they're basically living together, that they're a couple, and that they're a flirty couple, they're a happy couple, and stuff like that. And I think that's interesting too. It's an interesting dynamic because it's obviously different from what Bruce seems to be up to, which is pretty single, alone, angry.
What are you talking about? He's got his platonic life mate, Alfred.
Yeah, so that's another thing too. Apparently, this has been confirmed. It's the idea that I don't know if he has ever had a butler type role in this universe, but he's more like the head of security of Wayne Enterprises, or like his he's more like his bodyguard. Like obviously Alfred always had military training to some degree in every version, he has like a military background, mostly in like being a medic though. But other versions have had him being like full on like a soldier as well, like having capabilities and whatnot, and combat experience, I guess. Yeah, so I think that's interesting. Jeremy Irons was one of the few casting choices that no one really like lost anything over. They got like they heard Jeremy Irons. Yeah, they heard Jeremy Irons as Alfred, and they're like, no, that's fine. That's totally fine. That's cool. Just let that go on.
I hope he uses a German accent and talks to somebody over a phone and asks them to play Simon Says.
Yeah, Die Hard with a Vengeance. That was a solid movie.
Better if he sings in a chasm with a bunch of green smoke in front of a bunch of hyenas.
Yeah, I mean that'd be a bit weird for Alfred to do, but sure, let's go with that.
I'd watch
it. What else? Let me think here. There's a lot of callbacks again to the Dark Knight Returns fight sequence from the comics. In the comics, he has Green Arrow team up with him and shoot a bow and arrow at Superman. Superman grabs it at the last second, and it's a kryptonite arrow and explodes in his face and makes him weaker. Obviously, they can't do it in this one, but I think there's a scene where Batman is shooting. It's very brief, but he's shooting something, a projectile at Superman, which Superman grabs. And I think that's going to house some sort of kryptonite stuff that's going to make him weaker. As shown at the very end of the trailer, him trying to punch Batman, and Batman being able to block his punch. So I think that's incorporated. I think that's very interesting. I'm excited either way. Is there anything?
Why doesn't Superman just grab him and fly up really high and drop him? Why does he even fight him?
Because he doesn't. Well, no. Okay, so it's the thing of like, Batman knows that Superman's too much of a good guy to like kill him or like that, or to do something like that, just because of the way that he thinks and how he acts. I don't know. That's basically the advantage in the comics, is that Bruce even says in the comics, he's like, at the end of the day, he's a nice guy, and I'm not. Meaning, like, he'll do what he has to do to, like, win a fight. Now, obviously, but like you said, obviously they're not going to kill each other. They're going to team up and fight Lex and whatever else.
And then they tag team Wonder Woman. They tag team somebody else.
That's the thing, too. We do see a little bit. We finally get to hear Gal Gadot talk as Diana Prince or / Wonder Woman. She sounds nice. I like it. She's definitely going to be I'm just going to see what they do with her and like how they use her. I think she's going to be very much sort of like in the shadows, kind of watching both of them, and then she's going to help them out at the very end. Duck. Yes, like Darkwing Duck. Anyway, do you have anything to add? That show's been around a lot longer, so we've had a lot more time to look over and discuss it.
The fight scene looks fun. It looked like all the fight scenes look good. I'm interested to see them when they're actually like in order and not just like 2 seconds here, 2 seconds here, out of context and out of sync.
Yeah.
But
they have the long. I think I sent you the long trailer, like the 6-minute trailer, where it tries to show everything in the trailers what the person believes to be chronological order, and it's actually it's a pretty good trailer, I thought, as far as being fan made and whatnot. I thought that was a lot of fun, but I don't know. I'm very anticipated to see what they do. All right, well, let's talk about Daredevil, because it seems to be like something that we can really go into here. That like though I prefer DC, as far as Marvel goes, Daredevil is like in my top 5 favorite heroes in that universe. Like he's at least number 3. I really dig the Frank Miller run, the Bendis run. The Brewbreaker run, and obviously take a lot from that. I'm also a huge fan of the Garth Ennis Punisher run. From what I know, I can never pronounce his name. The guy who plays Punisher, John.
Oh, the dude from Walking Dead.
Yeah, is it Berthenol? Berthenol, I think. But he said when researching the role that they had him read a lot of Garth Ennis Punisher. So I'm thinking a lot of it's going to be taking that into account while being the character. Though he's definitely like an up and coming Punisher. This is like year 1 Punisher too. Like he's not, he hasn't been around for a while. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that dynamic and whatnot.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know if maybe he's just new to the area. He could have done stuff in other places.
I guess that's true. I mean, it looks like from the trailer that he had just more or less just started up. But the whole idea of Karen saying stuff like, us, being Daredevil, opening the doors for guys like this. What the trailer looked like it was insinuating was that Punisher was inspired by Daredevil, and except he takes things one step further. He sees Daredevil as a half measure, as he states.
Well, I'm excited to see how it's portrayed as the character. I mean, we don't really see much of the dialogue or the character development or anything of him. We only just see him shooting stuff in most of the trailers. They're like blowing stuff up. Yeah,
or you see stuff of his past, like the castle house and whatnot, and like pictures of his children.
The two Punishers we've had beforehand were so different from each other to then see like what take on it this one's gonna be.
No, technically we've had 3. If you count the Dolph Lundgren one in the 80s.
Oh, no.
No, honestly, my favorite version so far has been Thomas Jane. I felt that was the closest they got to Punisher from the comics. Also, too, I never thought about it. I'm wondering if they're going to show his actual origin, because in the comics it's much different. It's not like them all at like a like family resort, and then which gets killed by the mob, and then he gets blown off a dock or something. In the comics, he's literally going through the park with his family. I mean, granted, it changes a little bit here and there, but they're either witness to a mob hit or something, or they get in the crossfires, and basically, his family gets killed by the mob. In some different iterations, it's like the mob getting revenge on Frank Castle for being like a stand-up cop or whatnot, and then he gets his revenge on them. So, but I'm wondering if we're going to see like the shootout in the park and everything.
I bet it'll be a flashback.
Yeah, no, it would definitely be a flashback. But I'm still saying I think it'll be interesting to see if they. I assume that they're going to do it. But I'm interested to see how they approach that.
It'll be interesting to see if there's any tie-ins to Jessica Jones.
Yeah, that too, because now Jessica Jones has existed, and I think
I'm not like major stuff. Like I highly doubt that she will ever be in any of the episodes for this season.
No,
just to see if there's any mention of or news articles or
they'll probably do like an Easter egg
TV or something.
Yeah, something like an Easter egg. Because the thing is too, Marvel fans, both in comics and in the live action stuff, they always kind of want to know the timeline. They want to know when things are happening, and like, oh, well, while this is happening, what's happening with S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like, where is S.H.I.E.L.D. at this time? Where's Iron Man? Like, where are the Avengers? Like, what's happening while this is going on, kind of thing. But yeah, we could probably see her in like a flashback, or not a flashback, Easter egg or something like that. That's a possibility at this point. Oh, by the way, I meant to ask. You would know this more than I would. When is Luke Cage scheduled to actually air? Is it this? Is it
show? I don't know.
Is it supposed to be this year?
I don't know. They just announced who. Well, they didn't announce it. Technically, it's a rumor.
No. It was just confirmed a few hours ago. The guy who plays Game of Thrones is going to be Iron Fist.
Yeah, I saw
Danny
that this
Rand.
morning. It's like a rumor. I didn't know it was confirmed yet.
Yeah, I forget his name off the top of my head.
Curly hair dude.
Yeah, he's what's his name? The character in the show. Oh, here we go. I can just look up Dan's our friend Dan here. Finn Jones is going to be Iron Fist, so that'll be cool. He looks interesting. Definitely looks like a Danny Rand, so I'm interested to see what they do. My thing with Iron Fist is, his origin is basically like his parents and like their best friend with little Danny. They go into the mountains because they're trying to find like this mystical village or something, like this legendary village that's not supposed to exist or whatever, that has magical kung fu skills or something like that. And
find a panda.
but they get lost, and basically the best friend is in love with the wife, and so he betrays Danny's father, and Danny sees his father fall to his death and whatnot, and then later the mother and him abandon the guy. Or he abandons them, I forget which one, in like the harsh, winter Arctic. So they go out, and the mother and him find the mystical village, but before they get there, they have to go over a bridge, and a bunch of wolves have been following them. So the mom like, go to the village. She sacrifices herself, and like the wolves eat her alive. So it's really like his origin is really intense and very dark, and I kind of hope that they can work off that somehow. But then, of course, he goes to the village, he trains, and then he fights a mystical dragon and like hugs the dragon or something, and then that's how he gets the tattoo on his chest. So I'm wondering how they're going to approach that. But at the same time, I think by the time they'll have done the Iron Fist show, Doctor Strange will have already happened. So I think magic will be a little bit more easier for the viewers to understand in that universe, possibly. So we'll see what they do with that. Let me think here. I'm trying to think as far as okay, so the first Daredevil trailer mostly focuses on Punisher as far as like what he's doing in this universe and like how he's affecting Hell's Kitchen and how he sees Daredevil and and vice versa. The second trailer, the first trailer ends with Elektra breaking into his apartment and scaring him. Because that's the thing, that she's able in the comics, she's able to decrease her heartbeat so much. she can actually sneak up. She's one of the people that can sneak up on Daredevil because he doesn't hear her coming, or doesn't know that she can be in a room or something like that. So that's like, I think that's what that was a callback to. The second trailer opens right where we left off, with them talking and stuff. And she's like, "I need your help," and he's like, "Yeah, you're like." You can tell that the relationship sort of ended on like a sour note. Kind of probably how much how it did like in the comics and stuff. What's your take on I can't talk. Elektra as like a character and like how she pertains to Daredevil?
I don't know. I've never been much of a fan of her, just because I feel like she's just filler. I feel like she's just like, oh, let's make a strong female. Here you go. She used to be a love interest, and let's have her team up with him. It's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, but I mean,
it's a way to get another powerful woman on the TV show. Like, I don't know.
No, I mean, okay, so.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's like.
Well, no, I mean, I can understand where you're coming from, but I mean, I like her because they have sort of like a Romeo and Juliet romance, at least in the comics, because, and again, this is the other thing too, they're incorporating a lot, like the Hand is now coming full swing in Season 2 of Daredevil. We see them in action. Stick warns and literally calls them the Hand, so there's no like, debate about it, like it really is them. But in the comics, Elektra was sort of seen as like a shepherd of evil for like the Hand, basically. Like she could lead the Hand or do something, like, because they seek out, prospects when they're young. And the good guys, the guys who are, run by Stick and stuff like that, the good ninjas basically saw Matt as a, like the opposite, like the good guy to run their crew and to shepherd into like a new age, basically. So the fact of them being like lovers is like a forbidden love type deal.
Or you could look at it like yin and yang.
Yin and yang, very much, yeah. So I don't know, I've always liked that aspect. What I do know for certain was that, Frank Miller created her when he was redoing all of Daredevil in the 70s and 80s, and he added her in the backstory and whatnot. And from what I know, because she's died several times in the comics, like a lot of other comic characters, but Frank Miller wanted to kill her off. He didn't want her to come back. He wanted her story to be like complete and have an ending, and then not bring her back at all, like when he left the book. And he got very pissed at Marvel when they actually did bring her back. So I think he was even quoted in saying some sort of, in some article, they were like, "Oh, how do you feel about Elektra being on the TV show?" And he was quoted as saying, "It's not her." And not to say like the representation wasn't like accurate, just like he didn't, like he sees Elektra as like a real character, like a real person. Of course, he's also insane, so there's that too. But yeah. Okay, well, what about anything else? I mean, did you like the idea of Stick and the Hand and all that coming into play? Do you like that, like ninja on ninja violence and whatnot?
Well, yeah, the fight scenes will be great.
Yeah.
You can't just have Daredevil always fighting a guy with guns like Punisher. You need to have the ninja aspect and the whole hand-to-hand. The fight choreography from Season 1 was great, so this will just be even better. It'll be interesting to see where they go with it, because, I mean, an entire season of him just fighting ninjas would kind of get boring.
I think they're gonna vary it up a bit. I think between Elektra and Punisher, we do know. I don't know, from what I've seen so far, unless they're saving it for like a surprise at the very end. There's no sign of Bullseye as far as I can see.
Yet.
No, I do know. I talked about this. There was that rumor that Jason Statham was in talks to do Bullseye.
And they quit.
Because like it got out and like basically no one cared. They're like, that's fine. We don't want Jason Statham in there anyway. So I don't know if they're doing it like a last minute thing or it's like because maybe they're trying to tease like I could see it very much being like first season's Kingpin, second season's Elektra, Punisher, dealing with the consequences of season 1, and then season 3 is literally like Kingpin gets out and Bullseye is like. He hires Bullseye to go after Daredevil basically and like ruin his life or something like that. I can see that very much happening. I don't know.
I can see that happening towards the tail end of this.
Yeah.
With Kingpin still being in prison
and making connections and whatnot.
Connections with
yeah.
fighting Bullseye in prison, and then when he gets out, he gets him to go and do his dirty work while he's still in prison.
Yeah, very much so. Is there any particular villain that you want to see in the Daredevil show that you haven't yet? I mean, I don't know for certain. I assume that they might be bringing in the actual Owl because Owsley's died. Yeah, but his son is talked about quite often, so it's very possible the Owl himself will show up. I don't know. Daredevil doesn't have a huge rogues gallery that hasn't been used by other people.
Just wondering if they're going to get any mention or screen time or anything for Infinity War.
Yeah.
I mean, Daredevil is not one to... We talked about this already.
Yeah,
Daredevil's not one to get out of Hell's Kitchen, but I don't know if they're going to talk about him at all.
I think we can basically just repeat what we were talking about last night. We had a good discussion about that because we said, or at least my theory was, they probably won't have a huge role in the Infinity War movies, but very much so they could have a huge cameo, especially at the end of, because I assume part 1 is going to be build up, and then part 2 is going to be the payoff, and part 2 is going to have a lot of the destruction and stuff like that, and it's obviously going to be centered in New York because it always is, and very much so you can just see the Defenders themselves set up, being together and doing like recon, just making sure everyone's alive and not having buildings fall on them or whatnot, But at the same time too, they're taking a while because now, like you said, we haven't got Luke Cage yet. They only just cast Iron Fist. It depends on how fast that they decide to do it and whatnot and get that going. So. I don't know. Do you have any thought? Do you have any thoughts as far as Iron Fist and like what you want to see out of that?
We'll wait to see as more stuff is released about it. They only just released who the actor's going to be. We don't know who's going to be fighting or anything like that, or what time frame he is. Like if he takes place at the same time or before or after. So, like these other shows.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Jessica Jones took place before Daredevil. Not like during.
I feel like it took place. I mean, obviously it skips, years and stuff in between and whatnot. I don't know. I kind of feel like it took place more or less at the same time. They mentioned, like we've talked about this. They mentioned the blind lawyer in Hell's Kitchen and stuff like that. Yeah. They don't ever say Matt Murdock by name. The only connection it had was, not even in the show. It was the teaser after the show had ended, and it was Jessica Jones looking at a card
business card.
Yeah, of Nelson and Murdoch. How do you feel the Nelson? Because in the comics, Foggy didn't find out, I think, until much later down the line about the whole Matt Murdock Daredevil thing.
Well, it seems like he's pissed at him in the trailer.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know when I'm going to come up here and find you dead. Like.
Yeah. I don't know. He's just a worried guy because it's like, I mean, things happen.
Well, it seems like everybody's pissed at Matt in the trailer because there's the nurse lady yelling at him. There's everybody else yelling at him.
Karen's just obviously worried. I'm thinking because like you and I both know that Karen Page is supposed to end up with Matt at some point. But they did a good job kind of making a point that Foggy cares about her, more than as a friend, and that they could have, possibly had a relationship. Maybe he just feels, Matt's like being like the cock blocker in the way of that, and like he doesn't want to compete with Matt for Karen or something. But I don't know. That's just the theory. That's the theory I have as far as that goes. But you're right though. Everyone's pretty much pissed at him. I can't think of anyone who's doesn't show some resentment toward him as things go on. I think a lot of that might be reflected too through the Punisher. They might think the Punisher exists because of Matt. Much how like the Joker exists because of Batman type of deal. But still, yeah, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. I think ninjas covered the hands, Stick being in there, Elektra, and all that. I guess I'm more excited for Elektra than you are. I don't know. I think I've covered everything as far as that goes. Yeah,
that's good on my end.
All right. Do you want to make this a mini pod? Is this going to be a mini pod?
This is short enough for one.
All right, mini pod it is, I guess.
Well, we're only talking about movie trailers. It's not like a.
Oh, I know, man. But we end up, we always have like 2-hour discussions anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess this is going to be mini pod episode 2. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to us. I guess that's all we got to say about those certain things. We hope for the best. We want Luke Cage. We want Iron Fist. We want Defenders, and this just seems to keep going up on that that pathway. So looking good so far. All right. Anyway, have a good day, guys.
Bye.